Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video, it's Queen Sugar Season 7, Episode 9, entitled Whisper to Us. I give a full episode recap with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around. I keep all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. Camille and Nova walk in bliss and talk about great times while growing up. Nova feels that looking at Camille is the equivalent of time standing still. They compliment one another on their beauty and how it's evolved gracefully. Camille never left Louisiana. She could never pull herself away from the sights and how it made her feel. Nova feels the same, but St. Joe didn't always love her back. And Camille disagrees. That's the story that Nova is telling herself. She needs to create a new story, one where she is the hero. Hollywood and Vi send good words of encouragement to Joaquin and Dante. They continue to extend their love, and whenever they need them, they can always call. Vi admits, over the years, she threw away the thoughts of having children. When the boys stayed with them, she realized that all of those feelings of motherhood started to come back, mixed with fear. She's considered fostering children, but letting them go over and over again would be too difficult. First it was Blue, then the boys. I don't know if I can do this time and time again, letting them go. Hollywood suggests that the love they both have and they want to share should be placed into foster parenting. Soon Vi could give a whole world full of children the love that they need, loved by her. They could both give so much love that is in their hearts. Darla has a moment to speak with Blue, and he's excited about a school field trip. The joy is overshadowed by Ralph Angel. Now he is concerned about Blue being in the same city as Chase. The truth eventually comes out, and what if Blue finds out earlier than we think? Also, he didn't say anything else about him paying money. Darla feels that Blue is safe and he won't find out, at least not now. Besides, Chase isn't giving us money or paying. He's donating to the St. Joe Black Farmers Co-op and the community. He's not paying for Blue. He's not paying for me. A once-a-month payment will have him face what he did to me. And it doesn't matter what he thinks. After that day, he signed the papers, and I'm not afraid nor ashamed. I'm here, and all is well. Ralph is slightly reserved, but then he eventually says, "Well, I'm proud of you." Hollywood gathers some fellas of the community, and he has an idea. There are strong Black men in the community who can mentor. Kids have to deal with so much nowadays. Social media manipulation, police brutality, are people being shown the trauma over and over again on media platforms, bullying, the pandemic, school shootings, and so much more. Micah agrees that things surely have gotten worse since he was in high school, and Ralph understands. Some children are emotionally sensitive to bear it all, just like Blue. All of these kids are stressed, post-traumatic stresses. The fellas notice that the local schools are overwhelmed, and the principal doesn't even care. He's just sitting around waiting for retirement. If we don't step in and help, who will? We must be the change. One by one, the men raise their hands to Hollywood. Whatever you have going on, count me in. Camille has read a lot of her books, and she loved all of them, even Peace and Blessings. She always knew that Nova would be an amazing influence. Her and her ex-wife were able to enjoy children, a boy and a girl. Nova feels that she never had a path or a passion for motherhood, but she has 2 amazing nephews and a baby niece. Now the difficult topic. The night that she was supposed to meet Camille, a graduation party. They both decided that they would dance together in public. Nova apologizes that she never called and didn't show up. Camille was the best thing that ever happened to her. But then she was outed to her father, and he never looked at me the same. Up until then, my father adored me. Then, a sadness in his eyes, and it broke me. Camille is saddened to hear such news. Her father always came by the shop and ordered a number 6 and a strawberry cold drink. When he suggested that I called you, I wish that I had. Camille extends her hand in comfort. That was a long time ago, Nova. The guys coo over the baby. The doctor says that she will be tall just like her dad. Hollywood is excited to share some news. Him and Vi submitted the paperwork to foster again, and the guys know any child will be thrilled to call him dad and her mom. Now Hollywood would like to speak with Ralph Angel alone. He wants to check in with everything about what happened with Chase. Ralph is curious about therapy. He can't stop thinking about what he did to Darla. Hollywood can relate and encourages whatever will help. Just do it. When Jimmy Dale came to their house, he was engulfed with rage. He always heard about people snapping, and he was close. Although nothing good ever comes from it. All it does is hurt you. We gotta learn to let a lot of things go, but Ralph doesn't get it. How can one live with something like that? After what he did, let it go? After what he did to his woman, the woman he loves, now his wife? I don't want to let it go. Hollywood reminds him that your job is to love and protect your wife. That man doesn't deserve your attention, time, or energy. Change the way you're thinking. He's not worth it. Micah shows Cordell photos that he took at the co-op, pulling together to assist him with the farm. Micah wants permission to show a specific photo of him and Ralph Angel hugging. Cordell remembers he could hardly emotionally stand. But how is this art, Micah? Micah thinks that this piece is one of the most impactful photos. It shows pain of hardworking Black farmers. The storms are getting worse. This can bring about conversations of climate change and the real people it affects. He feels that it will sell, and that money can go to the donation proceedings for the co-op. Cordell is amazed. Micah, you see all of that in this photo? Well, you got it. Run with it. If it wasn't for the co-op, I wouldn't be here. Cordell also takes a moment to be sincere. Micah, you remember when you displayed your art here and there was a photo of you and your friend? I had no business running my mouth about it. You can see art in ways that I can't. When I was coming up, things were so different, but that's no excuse for the things I said. I love you. They shake hands and Micah receives the apology. Darla is busy at the mill and the workers get rolling and assisting in which parts could possibly be replenished. Nova arrives at the mill and Darla thanks her for coming. Darla wants to talk about the book to movie deal once more. Before, the book created chaos and hurt everyone deeply. She didn't agree with how Nova told her story without her permission, although the book brought to life what she held in the darkness for so long. When Chase came to where she grew up, where she fell in love, he no longer had power over her. She reclaimed her story, died, and came back into who she is today. She won, and that is her story. In the book, my story stops in the middle. If you can add my victory, then you have my blessing to move forward with the movie. They hug with joy. Hollywood and the fellas hold their head high as they walk down the school halls. Their shirts read, Dad's on patrol. It's almost that time, fellas, the calm before the storm. These kids get out of school in 1 minute. Steer yourselves. Prosper jokes that you're making it seem like we're going to war. Ralph Angel thinks that some kids may feel that way. He would even feel a lot about dealing with home and school. It was like a tug of war, so I get it. Hollywood sees a teen shoulder hit another student. The teen doesn't want to admit to his fault, but Hollywood is gentle with his delivery. I'm Hollywood, and I always learned that if you do something that you're not able to stand by, then you shouldn't do it, all right? What's your name? They begin to bond, and the young guy's name is Kyle. They handshake, and Kyle says, okay, Mr. Hollywood. The fellas love how he handled the situation. They even feel they learned something. Nova practices her speech that she'll deliver to the school board, and Camille cheers her on. As a parent, Camille gives a little advice. Maybe you should take a more subtle approach. But Nova knows that subtle and toning it down isn't her style. They smile and Camille gets it. A customer comes in to try a slice of all 7 of Vi's pies. One here and the rest to go. Your choice. Vi suggests that he tries today's special, the last slice, the apple pie special. He loves it, and then he starts to take several pictures. Demetrius was right. This is spectacular. Vi is confused. Wait, who is Demetrius and what is this all about? His daughter showed him this guy on TikTok. He reviews everything and he's crazy. My daughter and her friends would stand in line for hours at the farmer's market just to get a slice of your pies. An employee even knows Demetrius. He's funny and he's got like 1 million followers. He loves Vi's pies. Martin Henderson. I'm a buyer for Hayes Farm Fresh Foods. They've got stores in Louisiana, but we've got stores nationwide. I wanted to talk to you about getting your pies in our stores. Vi is relaxed in her response. I will have to get with my business partner about this, but I will let you know as soon as possible about our decision. When Mr. Henderson leaves, then Vi takes a moment to celebrate. Parents are upset. You're poisoning our kids' minds. You're teaching hate, and I'm done with it. And let's take the politics out of it. I don't want a bunch of books teaching my kid that he was born a racist. Parents cheer and clap in agreement, but the board must keep the volume down. Now Nova has a chance to speak. I know what it's like to be blinded by anger, to feel judged, and by a small group of people and their perceptions. That's not why this is important to learn this. This is the truth, not my opinion, not a theory, the truth. No matter how hard or ugly it may be, a man keeps interrupting Nova, and Vi asks if he can respect her time of speaking. No one interrupted him, but the man is still upset. Hollywood adds that it would be a disservice for the kids not to learn new things and the truth. Plus, these are good kids. Nova wants the parents to know that it's easier for kids to get a gun rather than a book. All of the statements just creates more uprising and anger from the crowd. One guy even says, "Oh, now she wants to take away our guns." Vi can't believe it. That's not what she said. Stop putting words in her mouth. The board calms down the room again, and Nova still has the floor to speak. Nova continues, "What I meant was that we need to arm our children with knowledge, not weapons." She can't even finish her statement as the parents continue with anger. The board has to stop everything. Now they're out of time and they have to vote on the matter. By a vote of 3-2, the board has issued a ban of all texts with mentions to race, sexuality, and as the board member speaks, Nova whispers to Hollywood and Vi, "They can't do this. They are erasing our stories, our history." Vi hugs Nova in the hall, and Hollywood consoles, "I'm sorry, baby. You were the only one in there making sense. I mean, most of the best books were banned at this point, so you're with good company. Nova can't take this decision. There's got to be something we can do." A board member apologizes for everything. "I knew they were mad, but I hoped that they wouldn't take it this far. It was 2-2 and the last man just gave up." She doesn't know who would take the board member spot. They'll have to do a special election. "I just hope we don't get a MAGA zealot." Now Hollywood wants to know, what do you have to do to run for this position? Someone has got to do the right thing. What you need is 1,000 signatures to get on the ballot. Nova and Vi thinks that this is a wonderful idea. Hollywood, you love children. Plus, those signatures should be easy to get. The real spot, the co-op, and the diner, you can do it. People focus on the president, senators, Congress, but day-to-day decisions are the local school boards, district attorneys, city councils. That's the stuff that really affects our lives. Hollywood is just exhausted. Mel and Nova always being shut down by politics? Count me in. It's the art exhibit, and Rahad congratulates Micah. Congratulations, you sold it. You're dynamic. Your voice, you're finding it out and fighting for it. Micah is happy he can finally show his visions. Zane pops up and Micah wants to know, what are you doing here? Of course, Zane is anxious and selling more of Micah's work, and Micah isn't for it. Zane is upset. "Oh, so that's it? You're just gonna drop me since I put you in the game?" Rahad says that they all must be the change that they all want to see, but Zane thinks that's stupid and cheesy. Micah takes a moment to stand up for himself. "Thank you, Zane, for showing me everything I don't want to be." The greed, the desperation, and the hollowness. I want to be full, and if that's cheesy, then so be it. Darla continues to evaluate areas of the mill, and she has small talk with Ralph Angel. She wants to know what he was like in high school. Well, I had a chip on my shoulder, and I wasn't the best student. I was nothing like Blue. I think that I would have been a disappointment to my parents. Gladly, the mill starts to turn on. It works. That's going to add a lot of property value. Wait, Darla, I thought you said these parts came from a shutter mill. These parts read Landry Enterprises. Darla is confused. That's what I was told. The Landrys were selling off their old parts. Something's not right. Darla suggests that they go directly to the location of the pick part area, and Darla points it out. This is where he got the spare parts. Ralph notices it's the edge of the Landry's land. There's also some construction past the lines. If we let them sneak up on us again, that'll be the end of the co-op. They'll be surrounded by concrete and have to block out their water. We need to figure out what they're doing, what they're planning. Prosper is so nervous about the wedding. He can't decide on a suit. He's worried if he has everything and if it's good enough for Sandy. It's been so long since he's had to measure up to anyone else's expectations. Hollywood and Vi can't believe that he's so doubtful. He's a wonderful, loving, beautiful person, and any woman would want that. Now he needs to decide on which suit he's going to wear for the wedding because it's in a few days and they still need to do alterations. Darla and Ralph Angel arrive and they share the photos from the Landry location. They think that they're planning something crazy. Vi notices this is Betty's land, and Prosper confirms. Betty is Parker's mom. It's the land they don't want anyone to find out about. If it's one of Sam's schemes, Betty would have no part of it. Prosper agrees. Betty lets Landry's handle all of the endeavors with the land. Darla volunteers to check the parish and get the land records. Vi wants to talk to Betty. The land belongs to her. Vi remembers when things were bad and now things are starting to backslide. You saw their faces, the anger. Now they're banning books, stealing land. The school board, I know her. I need to find her. I know that she would help if she could. Hollywood thinks that she knew her a time ago, but people change. In the meantime, he has some people that could help her find some information. Micah is ready. Thank you everyone for coming, and the images at the showcase really meant a lot to me. It's a turning point of how I view things. Everyone has been an inspiration. My family is from a small town outside of New Orleans. Even Kiki is from there, St. Joe. I've been thinking about the people from St. Joe and how they never give up. I was recently a part of a collective that sold NFTs. I'm talking private jets, trips around the world. Yeah, it was cool, but it didn't feel right. And it didn't last. The business crashed. I feel like the stuff that sold wasn't a part of the solution. It was disposable, a temporary high. I want to make something with each of you that lasts. Our own collective, for us, by us. One that centers people of color, women of all kinds, queer people. All of those people who have been on the outside of what's popular, the outside of the popular box. People who never give up. It all starts right here in this moment, in this room. We go see how far our love of the game will take us, and we'll figure out the rest. Cheers. As Darla and Ralph Angel settle in for the evening, there's a knock at the door. It's Mr. Randolph. Everything with their loan isn't okay, but he wants them to hear certain information from him. I was fired in retaliation for helping y'all. In that house, helping black farmers isn't a part of the job. Miller has been taking advantage for years. Every time I report him, I get demoted and he gets moved up. But I knew this was coming, so I started making a copy of all this a while back. Take a look at these. It's applications that Miller has been sitting on, all of the black farmers. Mr. Randolph knew that he should have spoken up sooner, but he figured if I was gonna get fired, I might as well make some noise on my way out. Check this out. It's Sam Landry's file. They haven't made payments on their loans in over 18 months. Ralph can't believe it. Black farmers have been begging for more time, and Sam Landry gets a pass? Mr. Randolph confirms that they give Sam Landry more time and they slide Miller some money in the meantime. Bribes. These people are in it bad. It's not what it looks like on the outside. They have a lot of debt and are desperate. They always have been. Darla shares the Landrys have been selling parts. Once again, Mr. Randolph says, desperate people do desperate things, and they don't want to get caught in their own fire. Now Ralph thinks they should start a fire of their own. Nova is in awe of Camille. Who would have known they would have another chance to get to connect? She also feels that they're more in tune, and she's more in tune with her father. Who knows what their future would have been had they had that dance together? Those decisions, all those decisions, take us to our paths. Camille agrees to some extent. Everything that happens in our lives, we're either meant to be in those moments. And sometimes we don't know that certain decisions were turning points until we look back. They should take their lost moment back and dance. Nova plays SWV's Weak on her cell phone, and they slow dance with passion, looking into one another's eyes. Nova is a little sad, but once again, we have this worst timing with each other. Camille thinks that it's the best timing. All she wants to do is enjoy the moment and dance. That's all. And they do just that. Enjoy the moment. And that is the end of the episode. And now it is time for your favorite part of the video. That's right, my review. So you guys, we only have one more episode left. I'm guessing one more episode left because typically there are maybe 10 episodes each season. I don't know if they're going to throw us another bone and give us 2 more. I don't know, but highly likely we will have the finale that's coming up, and I'm super excited to know how they will close the season. So just a refresher, we did discuss in the previous recaps and reviews that we do have an actress who played Charlie Bordelon who's no longer a part of the series due to personal issues, and that changed up the script a lot because I was upset, like, oh, why are they doing this? They're putting in all these storylines I could care less about. What about the land? But when it comes to production, when it comes to writing, you do have last minute things that happen to where writers really have to get busy and switch some stuff around. It happens a lot. We have deaths, we have real life issues, we have people who have children, we have people who have injuries. So a lot of the time, script writers and development, they are used to this kind of thing and they're prepared for it, okay? When it happened with the pandemic, they did a wonderful job of creating a season that correlated real life events with the characters, and it was beautifully written. With this last season, I like the fact that now we're getting to the land, which is the most important part. I did predict at the beginning of this season that a lot of things would happen, especially when it came to the land, and also Charlie Bordelon maybe networking with a lot of people and saving the day. So it seems like how they're wrapping it up is without Charlie's character being there, there are a lot of endeavors that are saving the land when it comes to money, because as we all know it in real life, you can dream all you want, you can think things out all you want, but money makes things move. We talking about Micah, who's wanting to donate the proceeds from art to the co-op. We have the situation with Chase that's unfortunate, but it's money coming from that, and all of these other endeavors. Now we're seeing that the Landrys are selling parts not only out of desperation, but because that desperation is coming from debt. Now a lot of companies, a lot of people, a lot of politics, when they start to come in debt, they live a lifestyle, which is crazy, that makes them appear to be rich, and if they're not in debt. When you do that, you have a lot of people that can become manipulated, who give you more money and who have this idea of you that you're not broke, okay? Happens every single day. A lot of people who are rich or wealthy and they run into debt issues, continuing to live a lifestyle that makes them absolutely get deeper and deeper into debt. Happens every single day. Then what's getting me is that this is a very small town, so it's allowing them to get away with it. Mr. Miller, this guy who has been sitting on applications, who's been doing dirty stuff, who has been putting the back burner and stalling, allowing the Landrys to continuously keep going based upon bribes. It's very upsetting, but that is a realistic situation. It actually happens a lot in businesses. There's so many examples that I can give, but I feel like with this show, there's only so much time to talk about everything. They are wrapping up a lot, which is great because you don't want to leave your audience upset and clueless, right? And also frustrated from storylines that fizzled. I did mention in previous recaps and reviews that when it comes to a lot of series, sometimes there are so many storylines that the writers hope that the audience forget certain plots. And that's what has happened. A lot of plots have fizzled away because they know that the audience will forget certain details. But I didn't. I pointed those out earlier in this season in the recaps and reviews. Go back if you want to know about those things that I call out. But there's a lot of storylines. It happened a lot with Greenleaf, unfortunately, that as the seasons progressed, they added in so many additional storylines that when the show got canceled, unfortunately, the audience is left very upset because there's so much that they didn't get to dive into, or they didn't even wrap up the previous season to move forward. With this season, they're showing us, and with the final season, they're showing us in these last few episodes that people are gonna be okay, right? Because there's been such a struggle with all of the characters. I have called this show the present time good times, right? They had a good times, but the bad times it just hits the family so hard. The conclusion they're giving with the land is they're going to find out that the Landrys really don't own their land because they're in debt. They haven't paid anything. So how could they own it? So that could be the wrap up of them getting their land back. Also, something, if they had an additional season, they would have to talk about legally what would happen with Chase, because it's highly likely Blue is so smart, I mentioned this in the previous reviews, that it's highly likely he can figure out the truth later. But we don't have time for that. The season's coming to a close. So a lot of time with writing, what it can do is it can give the audience an idea of hope or some sort of conclusion or idea and guess of what the characters will do in the future. We can make up our own decisions. We can make up our own ideas. It's like the end of The Sopranos. We can make up in our own head what happened in that last scene. With these characters, we can make up an idea that they're going to be okay. The land is going to be given back, right? Based upon a lot of sneaky, shady stuff. That Nova is discovering and realizing who she is and sticking to her word. And is she going to be a fluid person when it comes to relationships? Or is she going to be someone who's committed? She's learning that she has control to decide what's next. Hollywood finally getting his opportunity and convincing Vi, because for the longest time, Hollywood has dropped a lot of things that he's wanted to do for Vi. So Hollywood is finally getting his things that he wants in the real spot and moving forward with being a foster parent with Vi. It's all that he's wanted. Vi, his pie, and the kids, right? So finally, we're seeing Hollywood happy and get what he wants. We're seeing Prosper with some happiness, finally, because he's been alone for years and he hasn't had his wife. He had the depression with the pandemic in the episode. So we're seeing him with happiness. You know, all of these characters are getting conclusions. We know Micah will be all right because he's finding himself with this art. So this is comforting feeling that, wow, all of this struggle, all of this mayhem, all of the stuff that happened, and they're finally having a chance to relax and be okay. Let me know what you think. Subscribe, like this button, and there's also a feature on the page if you would like to donate a little something to the channel. Feel free to do so. But leave your comments down below, like this video, share, follow me on Instagram, and let me know what your predictions are for the final episode. Make sure that you check out the FX original Emmy award-winning season of Atlanta. It's the final season with that. Make sure that you check out The Handmaid's Tale, the Emmy award-winning Hulu original series. Check that out and so much more. In the meantime, in between time, remember to take care of yourself and each other. Bye.